Right, so today we're going to finish up our last section in chapter 12, linear correlation and regression. So in this section we will learn how to determine whether there is a relationship between two quantities, and if so, how strong that relationship is. Right, so correlation is used to determine whether there's a relationship between two quantities, and if so, how strong it is. And then regression is used to determine the equation that relates these two quantities. We are going to focus more on the regression part. There's a lot of extra material in your textbook dealing with correlation, but in order to save a little bit of time at the very end of this chapter, we're going to focus on the regression part, not as much of the correlation part. Before we investigate these, we must discuss some basic concepts. So to start with some definitions, a scatter diagram or scatter plot, it's sometimes referred to, is a graph that shows the relationship between two numerical variables. Data that involve two variables is called bivariate data. We have bi meaning two, vary, right, meaning two variables. So we have bivariate data. Each individual in the data set is represented by a point in the scatter plot. The y-coordinate is the independent or explanatory or predictor variable. The y-coordinate is the dependent or response or predicted variable. When studying scatter plots, we're going to look for three things. We are going to look for trend, which is kind of like our idea of center that we talked about for histograms. We are going to talk about strength, which is kind of like our spread for our histograms. And we are going to talk about shape, which unsurprisingly is like the different shapes that we saw previously when we were looking at histograms. So we're going to start this by focusing on these three different topics.